In April of 1865, on the Day of Venus, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by the Company of Jesus. The printing of $450 million worth of greenbacks just was a no-go. No one was to bypass the Jesuit banking system and their extreme usury costs. This was one of the reasons for the warring in the first place. The assassin was a temporal coadjutor by the name of John Wilkes Booth. Notice the hidden hand of Yabulon, the god of Freemasonry. You will also notice the Freemasonic white glove. White representing Isis, the moon goddess, and fear. The gloves also symbolize bondage to Yabulon. The sovereign Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite's southern jurisdiction, Albert Pike. He said, Yabulon is a symbol of the infinite and eternal Godhead, a mongrel word whose name has been for 2,000 years an appellation of the devil. Yabulon is Saturn, protected by the equilateral triangle of the beast, the false prophet, and the Antichrist. You will notice the Isis, Horus, and Sepsiel of the Company of Jesus. This is above their Saturn god. The Horus initial itself being the sickle of Saturn symbol. This can be found at the Sant'Andrea della Valle Church in Rome, Italy. Company of Jesus soldier and president of Gonzaga College High School, Bernardin Wigett S.J. Wigett used his assassins to remove Lincoln from this world. These were David Herold, Edmund Spangler, George H. Searad, John Surratt, John Wilkes Booth, Lewis Powell, Mary Surratt, Michael O'Laughlin, Samuel Arnold, and finally Samuel Mudd. What does Knight of Malta and Roman Catholic Anthony Blair have to do with Lincoln's death? I wonder. Knight of Malta, Anthony Blair's wife is really called Teresa Cara Booth, born to Anthony Booth. Here she is with her controller, Franciscan Friar Michael Seed, controlled by Archbishop Vincent Nichols and Jesuit Provincial Michael Homan S.J. Michael Seed controls the Blair family, along with other high-profile fronts, such as Anne Widdecombe, who's now an option for the role of HM Ambassador to the Holy See. Knight of Malta, Anthony Blair, a covert Catholic at the time of being Prime Minister, destroys a 471-year-old anti-Catholic firewall, allowing Roman Catholic Francis Campbell in 2005 to become the HM Ambassador to the Holy See. What did Blair do in 2007? Why he become an overt Catholic once no longer in the Prime Minister's seat? Do you English sovereign beings think this is acceptable? Make note of the gold-fringed British Union Jack flag. The gold-fringed Old Glory flag of the United States of America represents a foreign enclave. This is the United States Corporation, as of 1868 with the unratified 14th Amendment Unholy Roman U.S. Empire. The fringe is showing you that your country of the United States of America is now on foreign soil. The flag originates from the British East India Company in the first place. After being presented with law, Federal Judge William Wayne Justice stated in court, during the case 6-97 CR 51, that, "I take my orders from England. This is not a law this court goes by." Roman Catholic, John Surratt, fled from the United States of America to Queen Victoria's Canada, then England, after helping to assassinate Lincoln. He then left England for the Vatican City, where he became a papal Suave. He was finally arrested and taken back to America in 1867, where he was conveniently freed in 1868 due to a hung jury, thanks to a Roman Catholic upon the jury. The second most powerfully known Jesuit of all time, Superior General Peter Beck's and his Pope, Pius IX, wanted Lincoln dead, ready for the coming Roman 14th Amendment U.S. Empire to form in 1868 onwards. Ex-Catholic priest Charles Chiniquy said in his book, 50 Years in the Church of Rome, that, after 20 years of constant and most difficult research, I come fearlessly today before the American people to say and prove that the President, Abraham Lincoln, was assassinated by the priests and the Jesuits of Rome. Lincoln was quoted as saying, "This war would never have been possible without the sinister influence of the Jesuits. We owe it to Popery that we now see our land reddened with the blood of her noblest sons." Though there were great differences of opinion between the South and the North on the question of slavery, neither Jeff Davis nor any one of the leading men of the Confederacy would have dared to attack the North, had they not relied on the promises of the Jesuits that under the mask of democracy, the money and arms of the Roman Catholic, even the arms of France, were at their disposal if they would attack us. I pity the priests, the bishops and monks of Rome in the United States, when the people realize that they are, in great part, responsible for the tears and the blood shed in this war. I conceal what I know on that subject from the knowledge of the nation, for if the people knew the whole truth, this war would turn into a religious war, and it would at once take a tenfold more savage and bloody character. It would become merciless, as all religious wars are. It would become a war of extermination on both sides. President James Garfield said, "Nor can any ecclesiastical organization can be safely permitted to usurp in the smallest degree the functions of the national government." For this, he also was shot dead in July of 1881. The next president who attempted to go up against Rome was William McKinley, who believed highly in gold-backed money. Global wars to be cannot be fought with the controlled precious metal-based money. It needs an illusionary uncontrollable debt-based, fiat reserve currency, as of today's lacking standard. In September of 1901, again on the day of Venus, the assassination attempt of President William McKinley took place. He later died 6 days later on the day of Jupiter. Another great American patriot was lost to the coming temporal power, global governance system, currently known as the New World Order, to the aware populace still left in the dark of its omega point.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
George Herbert Walker Bush is controlled by the following Romans: Knights of Malta, Heinz Kissinger and David Rockefeller. Great Master, Charles George. Dame of Malta, Elizabeth Mary. Archbishop and Cardinal, Francis George. Jesuit, Superior General, Adolfo Nicholas S.J. and U.S. Jesuit President Thomas Smolik S.J. Jesuit U.S. Assistant, James Grummer, S.J. Pope Ratzinger. Custodian of the two holy mosques, King Juan Farnese Carlos. Theodore Roosevelt was a 33rd-degree Freemason. He also was advised by Jesuit Thomas Sherman, the son of Jesuit coadjutor, Yankee General, burn him up, William T. Sherman. Thomas Sherman advised Teddy to reenact Sherman's infamous March to the Sea from Atlanta to Savannah, Georgia. So great was the outrage in Protestant Georgia that it was cancelled. Teddy was also a dear friend of Knight of Malta, William Russell Grace, the first Roman Catholic mayor of New York City and the receiver of the Masonic Statue of Liberty in 1886. Teddy was also the dear friend of Papal Knight J.P. at Pont Morgan, who died in Rome in 1913 in a $500 a day hotel. Teddy also aided in the completion of the Panama Canal in preparation for the Order's Second 30 Years' War, 1914 to 1945. The canal was completed in 1914 just in time. Later the U.S. government paid out tens of millions as compensation to Colombia for Roosevelt being involved in the theft of Panama from Colombia. Theodore Roosevelt was evil, wicked, sinful and also a good friend of King Edward VII, the serial adulterer. Jesuit General Louis Martin S.J., Pope Leo XIII and the Knight of Malta, U.S. Vice President Theodore Roosevelt all wanted McKinley horizontalized. Knights of Malta, Ronald Reagan and George Bush. The Catholic Percy family CIA agent, the bookkeeper. Reagan wasn't quite the popish president as expected, so Pedro Arapi S.J. put the orders out for his assassination. A concordat with the unholy see was needed and nothing was to get in its way. An attempt on Reagan's life took place in March of 1981. Secret Service agent Jerry Parr shot Reagan in his limousine. From then on, George Bush took control and the concordat was signed with the unholy see in 1984. Reagan appointed several Knights of Malta to his administration, including Alexander Haig Jr., Richard Allen, Vernon Jordan, Vernon Walters and William Casey. McKinley was taken out in Buffalo, a great Jesuit haven in New York. Knight of Malta, Teddy Roosevelt was the nephew of Roman-British agent James Bullock. Bullock fled the United States of America for England, where he's buried to this day, a traitor. Note the inscription on his grave: an American by birth, an Englishman by choice. Remember, Rome has covertly controlled England since the late 18th century. This is the William McKinley statue in San Jose, California. Notice the Roman laurel leaves and the fusci torch of illumination. Hissed Horus and said, "The company of Jesus." Finally we have John Kennedy and his famous Executive Order 11110, issuing silver-backed U.S. government money, bypassing the war bank of the Jesuits. He was killed by Permindex, the ONI, the SS and the CIA.